Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's September 11th, 2025. It's a beautiful 28 degrees Celsius outside here in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. And once again, we're going to be looking at this citation stamp album that I bought from the Sussex Flea Market. They were looking for $40. I haggled them down to $25 as I don't think they wanted to carry this big book back to wherever they came from. And so we're going to look at the final section of this book. So far, we've gone through all the countries, starting with A all the way and including R, and we'll finish S to the end of the alphabet today. It has been a great purchase. I am happy with what I got in it. Even without seeing what's left, I think I did pretty well. And so if you haven't seen any of the other parts and there's specific countries you want to look at, you can go back and look at the other three parts of this video. We will conclude it today. Now, normally on a Thursday, I'm going through my father's stamp collection, which is behind me here. And we've been working on the Americas. I will get back into doing that again once I've completed this album. But I think it was nice to have a little bit of a break, see a bunch of countries, stamps from around the world, not just focus on the history of one country and the few stamps that we may have had in the collection, but it has given me time to refresh a little bit. And I'm excited about stamp collecting. One of the things that's great is this weekend starts our stamp shows again. They take a hiatus in the summer, and so once again this weekend there'll be a stamp show, so I'll go off to that. I'll see what little mini treasures I can find. Some of the stuff maybe for this month's giveaway or the giveaways coming up in the future. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about giveaways, well, every month I do a video called Stamp of the Month, and associated with that, I give a giveaway. So this month's theme is trains, and if you go to that particular video, and you put in the keyword I've asked you to in the comment field of that video and that video alone, you get a chance at the end of the month to win a huge prize of train-related paraphernalia. Mostly stamps, but that's what we're talking about, isn't it? And so, yeah, so if you want to be entered to win that, make sure you go add into that comment field the word that I've asked you to do. And so yeah, stamp show, I will be looking for more train stamps. I'll be looking for stamps for upcoming themes that I already have planned for the remainder of the year. I'll probably look for a few Vario pages to put some of the stamps that have been generously donated to me in my collection that have come in too, that I've been separating them by country, and I needed a few more. I ordered some off Temu, but I know I'll go through those pretty quickly, so I'm going to look to see if I can find some at the stamp show as well. And then, of course, whatever I do find at the stamp show, I usually do a video next week. You'll probably see what I've got from there. All right, that's enough blathering on. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave positive comments, hype, and put the notification bell on so you don't miss out on anything. Now, let's get to the citation album. What other stamps are in here? S being the next letter in the alphabet, that brings us to St. Vincent. There's a few stamps here. You can see there's Rwanda from the previous page. There's nothing on that. Nothing from Saint Pierre and Miquelon. Oh, no, I guess there were a few on this side. One day, I'll actually get over there. It's not that far away, but it does take some getting to get there. Salvador. There is one stamp way down there. Sometimes the pages are tricky. There's another stamp. San Marino. When I first started, I thought, oh, triangle stamps. They're very hard to come by. They must be rare. Now I see them everywhere. Not so rare after all. Stamps on stamps. People love to collect those. San Marino's got a few there. And of course, birds on stamps, also very popular. Thank you to everybody who's given suggestions too about other themes that they might like to see in the future with regards to Stamp of the Month and giveaways. dinosaurs on stamps. And I have tried to slow things down. If you watched part A of this video series, you will have known I went through the album pages very quickly. And so there were some comments asking me to slow down a little bit so people could enjoy the stamps. And that's why we went from what I was originally going to do a 2-part series into a 4-part series in order so we could really enjoy the stamps a little bit more. And I think it was the right call. Siam, now Thailand. So one of the nice things about these old books is you get to see some country names that have changed, some areas that have changed, flags, all sorts of things like that that have changed over the years. Even the Canadian stamp as we know it, so the Canadian flag as we know it today, in this album, looked a little different. It was before the maple leaf. You can also see how stamps have changed based on which monarch might be on some of the stamps. Queen Elizabeth II was on a lot of stamps, but there are some stamps in this album that even predate her. But none that are King Charles III. This album doesn't go that modern. I think this goes to about 1965, 1967, somewhere in that range. So South African stamps here. If you hear the squeak of the wooden chair I'm in, I do apologize. I was thinking at first we got 2 of the same one, but these are just different denominations. Southwest Africa, there wasn't any stamps there, but on this page there is. Southern Rhodesia. We have Spain. The binding there. Very common stamps. If anyone ever collects Spain, they've got these stamps. These are really nice ones. More and more I see castles on stamps. It makes me think that's got to be an upcoming theme. There are some amazing stamps that have castles on them. And these pages. Sweden. There's one I missed over there. That one is upside down. Switzerland. One down there. Syria. Makes me wonder, who had this book before? Was it one person? Has it traveled through many hands? When they collected, how did they get their stamps? Who were their contacts? What did they trade in order to get them, or were all the stamps purchased? Because there is definitely a variety in the stamps that are in this album. And I read a post not too long ago, people that said that they had a citation album and they bought packets of stamps and hinges, and it changed. They had mint stamps, mint never used, and then all of a sudden they put hinges on them to put in these albums, and now they're mint stamps that have been hinged. And whether they regret doing that or not, taking a mint stamp and putting a hinge on it to put it in an album like this. What are your thoughts? I know there are some of you that collect specifically mint stamps, so therefore you're using the Vario pages probably to house your stamp collection, or something very similar, an album like that. Or would you prefer to still use hinges and put your stamps on pages like this, or perhaps the pages like my father had, where he just had blank pages and he puts his own Scott number next to it? How do you collect your stamps? Transjordan. When I go to the stamp show this weekend, there'll be albums just like this, or very similar to these, where I'll be looking at what the stamps look like and grabbing a pair of tweezers and peeling them out at 10 or 15 cents a piece to add to things that I want. But as an album like this, having the whole thing, I'm not as keen to start pulling the stamps out, because someone's gone to a lot of work to put them in here to match them up. But at the same point, I'm not keen about getting more hinges and adding more stamps to this. So it's kind of a catch-22. I know some of these stamps will be in my father's collection, and some of them are duplicates. Some of them probably aren't in my father's collection. Now, do I pull them out and try to find a place within his pages? Do I add them to Vario pages that I already have for countries and start creating larger albums? I've been gifted some people's stamp albums, and I've kept them the way they are. I haven't taken any stamps out of them. But it does create a bit of chaos when you have multiple binders with multiple stamps, probably of the same countries. I don't know. At the same point, I haven't used the time that I have had. For example, I soaked a bunch of stamps off not that long ago. Well, probably that long ago now. Maybe it's been 3 weeks. They are still sitting on pages waiting to be filed into the collection somewhere. And a lot of them are duplicates. They're bound to be traded off to other people. So there is that some of them are just for trading purposes, so I'm not as big a rush to file them into binders. But they do take up some space on the dining room table, where I haven't done anything with them yet. So it is a project I need to work on at some point. A few stamps from Turkey here, which is nice. It's not a country that I get a lot of stamps from. Certainly not modern stamps from Turkey. Bigger stamps there, a little bit of Churchill history. United Arab Emirates. Volta, not familiar. Uruguay. I like that stamp. Nice to have a page that has a few more stamps on it. That's good. Would have been nice, a whole sheet of stamps. Venezuela. Those are good looking stamps as well. Vietnam. Zambia. The United States. On that page. This person didn't have a huge collection of United States early, that is. In the 1950s, he seems to be getting a few more. See some Parks on stamps. Express stamp. These pages we're seeing are a bit more complete. Stamp there on the side. Stuff in the binding. That park stamp. Stephen Whitney has sent that in. That was part of the giveaway for the parks. Airmails here. special delivery ones. I really like these stamps. It's a nice set. And then postage due. And that is all there is. If you've watched the journey from the beginning, from A all the way to, I want to say Z or Z, but it actually ends in U because the United States is the end here. So they did Z or Z depending where you're from, and then U came after that once again with the United States. So thank you so much for watching all the way through to the end. It's quite the journey. Quite a lot of stamps to see in there. Quite a lot of countries. If we're going to go and eventually do history of all of these countries, we got a lot of videos ahead still to make, which is a little bit mind-blowing, but it also shows the, I want to say hugeness, but that's not the right word, but how big this hobby can be, how all-encompassing, how when someone says they collect the world, how daunting a task that probably will never be completed that is. That was my father's dream, or not dream, not to complete, but to collect. And I don't think he was ever a completionist. I don't think that was his end game when starting to collect stamps. He enjoyed those miniature pieces of art. He enjoyed spending time with his Scott catalogs, finding out exactly where they fit, what year they came out, what their Scott number was, putting them in those orders. For me, I'm also, well, generally, I am a bit of a completionist. I like to, if I start something, I like to get it all if I can. Most of the times, those are dreams that are not realistic. Being a completionist when it comes to world stamps is not realistic. In my budget, it's not realistic. So, for me, it's finding the stamps that I like. Sometimes I find a couple of them. I know that Smokey of Snail Mail with Smokey, he used to have that same problem, or maybe still has that same problem. There's some stamps that really draw his attention, and he buys as many of those ones as he ever finds, just because he likes that stamp. I'm a bit like that sometimes. There are stamps I've got multiples of. There are stamps that I think other people might really enjoy this, so I pick it up so I can send it back off into the world. That's what the collection has been for me. It's been continuing my father's legacy. It's been enjoying seeing stamps that maybe I've never seen before. It's about promoting the hobby to other people, whether it be a younger generation that never even thought about stamp collecting because they've never written a snail mail letter before and never had to use a postage stamp, maybe doesn't even own a mailing address in order to pick up mail because everything is electronic for them these days. Encouraging those people, encouraging the people that once started a collection and it now is in a dusty box somewhere. Maybe pull it out again. See if it reignites that passion. That's what I want to do. I want to promote that. With the internet, we have that ability to be able to reach so many more households now and talk about these things. And the fun I like about stamp collecting, and I know it's a generational thing. There is a certain generation, especially when I go to a stamp show, that shows up. And it's not the 20 to 30-year-olds generally. But I think that can be changing electronically. I think there are those collectors out there that maybe don't show their faces at a stamp show. Maybe they don't have one in their area. That's one of the reasons why they don't show up at one. But because they can go on eBay or Hipstamp or a number of other platforms and find stamps electronically, have them mailed directly to their houses, and never necessarily go outside with other stamp collectors. It's a shame about that, but if you're watching videos like this, you can type a comment in and say, you know what? I really like collecting palm trees on stamps, or t-shirts on stamps, or whatever on stamps. Or maybe you watch one of my Stamp of the Month videos and say, you know, this is a collection that I never thought about collecting. I'm going to enter in. Maybe I have a chance to start a collection by winning one of these giveaways. So whatever your reason, whether you've stopped, whether you haven't started yet, whether you are in full-blown collecting mode and have been for 70 years, I appreciate you watching these videos and encouraging me by leaving positive comments. That's it for today, you guys. Have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Bye. So next Thursday, all being well, we get back into this album and we hit the next country in there in my father's stamp collection. And I'll show you what he has collected, maybe what I've got collected in this book here, and give you a little history too.